Sando, first of all, obviously you had Tomo go this morning and will he play, and also Dave McKay?
Both of those guys look pretty good. They've still got to just get through one more training session tomorrow morning, but both those boys will certainly go to Melbourne and be right in the mix to play. Pretty confident, yeah. I mean, you're always a little bit wary, particularly with, I guess, Scotty, because he got through three quarters last time and just felt a bit of tightness again. So, but the extra week off's helped us. The byes freshened the whole squad up, not just Tomo. So yeah, quietly confident that both those boys will be fine.
So tightness in his hamstring coming from his back, is it?
Yeah, it looks like it's some neural referral. So that means his hamstrings are what's taking the pressure from probably some back-related issues. So because he's got some tightness in his calves as well. So, but once again, it's an important game for us. We need to take fit players in. If both of those boys have some issues tomorrow and they don't get through the final test, then we'll obviously make a change. But as we sit now, quietly confident both those boys will be fine.
You talk about he had three quarters. Is three quarters, would that be good though to have from Tomo, and then knowing that you might go into game subbing him at three-quarter time?
No, I don't think so, Tommy. I think you need to take a guy in if you think he can get through a full game of footy, 120 minutes at match intensity. It's obviously a really important game for us, and we can't take anyone in who we think, might be able to just get through three quarters. So the final decision will be, can both of those boys get through 120 minutes of footy?
So he's been feeling that tightness this week at training? Like, was the break enough to sort of clear it up?
No, he's been feeling really good actually. He's confident. Once again, our medical team, Scotty and myself, will make a call on that tomorrow, potentially even Sunday, but that's not ideal. If we were to pull him out, we need to give his replacement plenty of notice. But it probably would be something that we'd decide more so tomorrow morning.
You'd be pretty keen not to break that consecutive run, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's on 99 straight, so that's a really nice record. I think he's second at the moment of active players for consecutive games played. But I mean, we laughed about that in the locker rooms just before. It's only something minor. If he's not right, he won't play. But he's had such a great season for us. He's been a really important player for us, Tomo, and he'd be a really good player to obviously have in our side this week.
How do you gauge the players after the break? What sort of things you look out for this week?
Well, I think the break always comes at a good time because you want to freshen players up. But I know we had a 12-point loss against Hawthorn, but our form's actually pretty good, and with getting guys back like Henderson, Lynch, and Brad Crouch before the break has enabled us to sort of get close to our best 22 back together at the right time of the year. Hopefully our run's not too late, but it feels like we're playing some good footy. We hit the front against Hawthorn in that third quarter, then they scored the next 4 goals of the game. We've looked at those sort of issues, wrestling back momentum and looking for ways to keep consistent over 4 quarters. But it feels like we're playing good footy. Since round 4, we're 8 wins, 5 losses, and 4 of those 5 losses have come by less than 2 goals. So we're playing some okay footy. We're still not setting the world on fire, but I still think we're going to be a difficult side to beat from here on in.
Do you think that's sort of been building? Like Dougie said during the week that the consistency feels like it's been building.
Yeah, I mean, we have. I really do ride this group hard because we're looking for this team to take that next step. It feels like at different times this season when it's been there right for us to grab it and take it, that we haven't been able to do that. We've just been a bit inconsistent when it's really mattered. But you have to be patient, you have to be tolerant with a young group, and it feels like we're starting to turn the corner. Some important acquisitions in the last few weeks. Some guys hitting some form at the right time of the season. As I said, I think we're going to be a hard team to beat on the run home.
Sorry, mate. I know that you said before the break you use it to freshen up guys, especially they've got a few little niggles.
Yep.
What does a coaching panel use that time for, given you don't have the day-to-day issues of getting ready for the game?
Listen, the coaches had a bit of a break too, and most of the guys had 3 days off, which is unique this time of the year. You don't get much time off during the season, so but we've had a good look about what we've done so far, what we've got left to come. But ultimately, as a group, coaching group and players, we're only focusing on our next opponent. Our sort of motto, if you like, is to beat our next opponent. For us this week, that's Collingwood at the MCG. the only game on Sunday this round, which is awesome. So we'll be in the spotlight on Sunday. Critical 4 points for us. So certainly looking forward to getting on the aeroplane tomorrow and getting over there. What's going to be a great challenge for our footy team.
How big is it? Is it do or die? I mean, is it all everything on the line now, or is
Yeah.
it too early to say that?
I like all the cliches, and you can't help but smirk when you hear talkback radio and you listen to the TV reports and also read in the paper. All those 8-point game, mini final, all that stuff. It's another critical game for us without question, and we need to perform well. The 4 points is really important for us. Couple of great milestones as well. Richard Douglas, 150 games. And I love the J-Pod story as well, to debut at 28 years of age and to play your 100th game as a 32-year-old. It's just a great story. So we've got a bit to play for this week. We need the 4 points, and we need to get a win for those boys too. And we'll go over there with the right frame of mind and hopefully get the points.
Joe Pott said on Monday he felt the team was probably as well positioned this week than any time this year with injuries and all that sort of stuff. Do you feel the same way? Yeah,
I do. I mean, we had some terrible injuries in the front half of our season. The week before round one, we lost 5 of our starters. We probably didn't have 8 of our best 22 in round one this year, and we started the season 0-3. Since then, as I said before, I think our form's actually been pretty good. Without being breathtaking, our form's actually been okay. We've been a bit inconsistent, but we're 8-8. We're actually sitting outside the 8. We need to just beat our next opponent, and as I said, Collingwood's our short-term goal.
Do you think you've got it over your mates now because you've ended the run against Hinkley and you've beat Buckley last time?
Yeah, I hope so. I haven't heard from Nathan this week, and I haven't contacted him. It's a big game for us, but the big picture is Crows versus Collingwood. They're in the 8, we're not. But yeah, that's a nice little side story. I'm sure we'll have some contact pre-game, maybe after the game, but our objective is to get on the road and knock off the Pies at the MCG.
How big is an inclusion of Ben Reid, especially knowing that you've had players like Lynch and Henderson come back who really help you structure? How big is an acquisition?
Yeah, Ben Reid's a really important player for Collingwood. He's such an important player for their structure, and he can play both ends. I know last year when they beat us at the MCG, we were on top early and they threw Reid forward and he kicked a couple of goals. He was a real handful for us, so we're still unsure about which end he's going to line up. I mean, we've got the 3 tall forwards and Lynch, so whether they use him as a defender or a forward, I guess we won't know till they bounce the ball, but he is a genuine swingman, and I'm sure we'll see him both ends on Sunday.
No Swan, Pendlebury obviously looms large. Do you run with him this week, and also do you expect McCaffrey to sit on danger? Yeah, I think so. McCaffrey's been playing that role for the majority of the season for the Pies, and whether he goes to Dangerfield or Sloane or Thompson, I'm not sure. He did Dangerfield earlier in the year when we played him, and you're right. We can't allow Pendlebury to have time and space, particularly he's their captain. It's a big game for both clubs. We can't allow Pendlebury to be running free, so. We'll try and deny his time and space as best we can. Who have you got for that role? Obviously, he hasn't played with you, and Kerridge was out, so who does that?
Yeah.
Who's the number 1 contender?
It's a good question. We've had that debate for most of this week. A couple of sleepless nights for me and Scott Camporelli thinking about who that player might be. We've got some options, but Pendlebury's an absolute star. He's their jet. I'm also concerned about Beams. I'm also concerned about Sidebottom. Travis Cloak obviously looms large, but we've got Talia obviously earmarked for him. That's no secret, but they've still got plenty of talent, the Pies, and we're going to have to be at our best through the midfield if we're going to beat them.
Sando, apologies if you've been asked this before. When Ricky Henderson played that match against Hawthorn, in reviews, did you look at that and say, he probably wasn't ready to play that role that he was doing as the loose man in defence?
Oh no, I think that's a really good role for him. He's only had 2 games back. He's only played 2 games in 12 months, Hendo. So he's really important for us. Him and Brodie Smith, Matty Yench back there give us a great deal of run and punch. I think we've got the balance back there now, how we like it. We can also use Brodie Smith up the ground a bit more now too. With Hendo back, we can use Smith a bit more through the midfield and wing. So yeah, it does give us a bit more versatility with Hendo back.
Can I approach it from this angle then? Is he better off now than he was in that match? Because he looked lost on occasions as to where to be to impact the play.
Yeah, I think he'll be better prepared this week for sure, yeah. Collingwood play 6 forwards ahead of the ball as well, so I don't think he'll be a free or like a +1, I guess, as we sort of call it in coach land. I don't think we'll see too many players for us free behind the ball. Collingwood generally play 6 forwards ahead of the ball, so we shouldn't see that as much this week.
Has the Stephen Trigger stuff during the week and the whole CEO impacted the players at all, and what are your thoughts on that situation?
I don't think it's affected the players, no. I mean, Triggy came and spoke to the playing group before he had the media conference, and I don't think I can't see it being an issue for the playing group. The timing's not ideal because we're 6 rounds to go in the home and away season, so that's not perfect for a footy department point of view, but from a player's point of view, that'll be the last thing on their mind, I'm sure, when they run out in the MCG on Sunday.
Is it frustrating? I mean, is it frustrating for him to, like you say, pull the pins?
It's just part of the industry, unfortunately, from an administrative point of view. It would never happen, or it sometimes happens with coaches in final series when, for example, when I got the job, that was in prelim final week when Geelong was getting ready for a grand final. That wasn't ideal for Geelong, but from an administration point of view, I don't think it's a distraction for the football department. And you won't, if we do have a loss or two, you won't hear that as an excuse from me. So yeah, you don't have to ask that question when it comes up.
Do you have any thoughts on whether it should be internal or external appointment?
No, it's probably no. I don't have a strong opinion. I think we've got some people internally who would be great in the role. But yeah, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. It's not my expertise.
You don't get to play at the MCG that often. Do you have to adjust, and have you had to adjust your training?
Yeah, it's a good question because the MCG is a circle, and when we play at Adelaide Oval, it's very narrow. So playing 12 games here a year, playing 12 games at Adelaide Oval compared to the circle of the MCG, it's a bit like when the Perth teams come and play from Subiaco, come and play at the MCG. It's much harder to defend the wide ground, but it does help your attack. There is more space. So defensively, you have to be at your best at the MCG, and yeah, we'll certainly be using that as a bit of a focus on Sunday.
That's been one of your key points, to defend and not have teams score freely against you. Is that sort of the last thing you need to tighten up?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, since round 4, we're the 4th best attacking team and the 7th best defensive team since round 4. So defence is still trying to catch up a little bit to attack. But I think still most teams, if we get our running game, our attack going, I think we're hard to stop. Defensively, though, I think we're still trying to catch up a little bit. We're still looking at ways to defend better across 4 quarters. And in the games we've lost this year, we've had patches where we haven't been able to defend the opposition. And it's the area that we're still working on as, I guess, a #1 priority.
Last one from me. Nathan Buckley was mentioned before. Have you got similar views and similar philosophies of the game?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are some very defensive-minded coaches, there's some very offensively-minded coaches, and there's some guys looking for that sort of balance in between. But I think when Nathan and I do sit down and talk footy, I think it's very similar. I think we're on the same page with our coaching philosophy, yes.
All good.